Hi friends, long time no tutorial. Today's look is fresh-faced, glowy, suitable for every occasion and also suits absolutely everybody. Also, I'm playing with some new filming equipment. I'm very excited, so hopefully you guys enjoy this macro style close-up tutorial. So, stare deep into my pores, count down from 5, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay. Hope you enjoy. I've worn this look both during the day and in the evening, so if you're going to get any sun exposure, your SPF would slot in here. But on this particular day, I was catching up with my girlfriends for dinner, so I'm moisturizing with the Dermalogica Skin Smoothing Cream. This is my absolute go-to when my skin is feeling sensitized, because it's quite a bland formula, and I mean that in the best way possible. It doesn't have a ton of fragrance or other ingredients that might irritate my skin. On that note, I'm applying foundation rather sparingly because you guys, my dermatitis, or dermatity, as Adrian would put it, my dermatity is flaring up again, and honestly, the more foundation I apply, the crustier my skin looks. I get a lot of comments and DMs about my dermatitis and eczema and how I treat it, and oh, how I wish I had all the answers. It's so infuriating, I feel you. Mainly, I've just been tiptoeing around my skin and cleansing really gently, avoiding any chemical exfoliants for a bit and hoping for the best. I know some of you are really knowledgeable about this, so if you have found a topical solution for dermatitis that isn't steroid based, please let me know. Help a girl out. A little under eye concealer. I recently bought another tube of the good old Maybelline Age Rewind. This stuff is brightening, it's smoothing, good stuff. If you want to hear a little bit more about my favorite Holy Grail concealers, I will link my 19 epic concealers video on the screen. Patting and blending that concealer out with a feather light finger touch, which is practically the theme of today's tutorial, finger painting. I think that I used about 2 brushes in this entire application. I like to use a darker foundation in place of bronzer to add some dimension, because I find the foundations tend to be less orange than bronzers. So maybe you have a darker foundation floating about that you use for mixing, or perhaps it's your summer shade, or maybe your fake tan shade. Dig that out and try using it in a bronzer placement. It's another good way to shop your stash. You'll see that I'm using this for more of a sun-kissed vibe, so applying on the tops of the cheekbones, the temples, the hairline. These are places where I naturally tan, as opposed to like a contoured or sculpted placement. The Mecca Cheek Tint Duo. So I saw Sharon use this blush in one of her recent videos and I got super excited. I was like, hey, I think I have that. And I dug it out. It's so pretty. It's got a glossy finish, so you've got to love a bit of shine, which I do, so I lived happily ever after. If you're more of an oily skin type, you might prefer a cream to powder blush formula that has a little bit more of a demi matte finish. I will list some of my favorite cream to powder blushes in the description box for you. There is a highlight in this duo as well. Again, it's got that emollient glossy finish, and to be honest, I'm already at glossy level 9000, so I just use a little bit on my Cupid's bow for good measure. Powder. This is another product that I use very sparingly when I'm experiencing dermatitis or any sort of textural issue, because it can collect in my rough patches and then game over. So just a little dust down the T-zone, a bit under the eyes to set that concealer. As always, if you have an oilier skin type or you're not really into that dewy look, then feel free to powder more liberally. The question I often ask myself, so often, how can I quickly add some dimension to my eyes without a transition shade, or a cut crease, or the willpower to perform wing liner? I don't have that willpower. So here is my fallback routine. I'm going to build some depth around the eye in a big, hazy placement. Any mid-tone shade will work here. You can use a powder, you can use a cream. I really love MAC Groundwork for this purpose because the color is just right. It's not too warm, so it just sort of resembles a shadow. I'm taking that onto the lid, into the crease, across the lower lash line, just buff it all out. Next, I want to go in with some sort of sparkly top coat to give me that glossy effect. I actually did a whole video about my favorite sparkly top coats. I will link that on the screen. There's so many different options at every single price point. So to achieve the most convincing glossy effect, I dab the sparkle lightly over the entire lid and into the crease. And then I'll go in with a second layer just on the very ball of the eyelid. If you look at editorial glossy eye photos, you'll see an all over shine, but extra pops of light on the very high points of the eye, like the ball of the eyelid. And that's essentially what we're recreating here. It's been a moment since I raved about the Pixi eye pencils, but rest assured they are still one of my absolute favorite pencil formulas. They've got a super smooth and soft application, but then they set and they last all day, or in this case, all night. I'm using a brown shade just on the outer half of the lash line, little extra definition, and then softening with a finger. Nothing fussy. As I said, this tutorial is achievable for everybody. It's beginner friendly. If you are wearing this to work or to uni, then you might want to apply some mascara and leave it there. To elevate this to more of an evening look, I'll often add a few individual lashes or something like the Positano lash by Eylure. This is a collaboration with Chloe Morello. Congrats, Chloe, you did such a beautiful job. I love them. They have an invisible band and a slightly elongated form that gives you that little extra flutter, but it doesn't look like a false lash at all. It's a very convincing, oh yes, these are my natural lashes. I use castor oil. Pop on some mascara. This is a new one to me. I just opened it. The Smashbox Superfan Fanned Out Mascara. So far, so good. Yeah, I'm having a bit of a mascara moment. Trying all the new ones. I'm really loving the Tarte mascaras right now. They are chef's kiss. Let's move on to a little bit of brow, shall we? The Fenty Brow Pencil. Oh, I have so much to say. First of all, this spoolie, or shall I say toothbrush. Who approved this nonsense? I want to know. It's really dense, so it doesn't comb the hairs. I would liken the sensation to combing your brows with a Q-tip. The pencil formula itself is perhaps a touch soft for my liking. It gives a blurry, hazy backdrop effect, which I think some people are going to love. I personally prefer to see individual strokes, and you get that effect with a harder pencil. The color is decent. Look, if I'm being nitpicky, it could be a touch ashier, but that's like the story of my life. If I were to write an autobiography, I would call it, could be a touch ashier. I recently rediscovered the Hourglass tinted brow gel, and I'd forgotten how much I love this, particularly on those no makeup days. I'll just quickly brush my brows up, and it just makes them look more luscious. Like, who doesn't want a more luscious brow? Also, this spoolie. Okay, this is an example of a perfectly designed spoolie. The tinted product coats the hairs, but it doesn't get on your skin. Who knew that I had such strong opinions about spoolies? Oh, how confronting. A close-up of my anxiety-induced torn lips. This is the content that nobody asked for. You're welcome. I mentioned this NYX lip liner in my 2017 beauty favorites video, so clearly this stands the test of time. I'm adding this lip balm to the exhaustive list of my favorite lip balms. It functions as a shiny gloss. I can put it over any lip liner, any lipstick, but it also really soothes and softens chapped lips. And let me tell you, I'm not often like a fan of coconut products. They turn rancid on my skin, but this one, oh, is perfect. I'm dedicating this tutorial to all of my friends and family who over the years have said to me, Karima, I don't own brushes. I don't know makeup. I just want to look luminous and awake and cute. Teach me. This is for you guys. You know who you are. Let me know in the comment section what kind of videos you'd like to see next. Whether that be more tutorials maybe, or favorites videos, or reviews. I read all of the comments, so fire away. Also, come say hello to me on Instagram at Karima McKimmie. I hope you're having a wonderful day. For anyone that needs to hear it, you are strong and kind and capable and worthy. I shall speak to you all very soon. Bye.